spelling out your name for me?
Yeah, for sure. So it's going to be Quinton, and then my last name's a little harder. Berkompus. It's going to be Berkompas.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then what is your title?
Yeah, so I'm the Deputy Director of Legislative Affairs.
Okay, and then I saw that the Student Loan Bill of Rights was also on the ASWSU agenda for this year, and I was just kind of curious what you guys have done to implement that into WSU.
Yeah, so it was a big priority last year,
Okay.
and so last year was on our agenda, and it was something that it got passed actually, so it became law. One of the biggest things was that a lot of students, so students typically are first time, first time they're taking out a loan, right?
Yeah.
So they aren't going to necessarily be really nuanced to understand exactly what they're signing on to. So when students are forced to take out private loans, if FAFSA doesn't cover it, then a lot of times they would be kind of the subject of like predatory practices, where different loan companies would be putting in certain things that students didn't necessarily understand. So we actually got it passed last year for the Loan Bill of Rights, basically restricting some of those predatory practices. It was actually had the backing of Attorney General Bob Ferguson. He made a formal request for this Washington State Student Loan Bill of Rights to be implemented, and so then they passed it. So yeah, if that answers kind of the question.
So it started here with you guys.
Right, so this has been, I don't know how long this has been on our agenda. A lot of policy items, they stay on our agenda if they don't get passed. I know it was on the agenda last year. I don't know how many years it stayed on it. But yeah, this has been a priority for us for a long time because a lot of students are affected by it.
Yeah, and so does that typically happen where you guys have an agenda and it goes to the state level like this has? Or?
Right, so every year we come up with an agenda for what we're lobbying for our state lawmakers. And typically we'll have a few of our items passed, and typically a majority don't. That's just pretty standard. Last year was pretty unique, and we passed our entire legislative agenda. And this year the session's still going on, so we don't know what's going to pass and what isn't gonna pass.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do you know exactly what the bill entails, what is happening now on campus that wasn't happening before?
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of information on its implementation so far. I know that a lot of it's going to be happening behind the scenes, where it'll be the Attorney General's office kind of holding the lenders accountable. So a lot of it won't be really visible to students, but the biggest thing is that there are much stricter guidelines about what's allowed and what isn't allowed, and the Attorney General's office is going to be holding the lenders more accountable, so that a student that really doesn't know a whole lot isn't going to have this little loophole here they didn't realize.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do you see student loans being more of an issue on this campus or even in Washington? Is that more of an issue here than it is other places, do you think?
Honestly, I think it's probably an issue everywhere, right? I mean, since a lot of how we fund college for students comes from FAFSA at the federal level, pretty much, every student going to college that receives or doesn't, either receives partial FAFSA to cover their, college, or they don't receive it at all, a lot of students turn to private loans, and I think that's a trend across the country.
Yeah. And so have you seen a difference on this campus? Do you see those practices firsthand or not really?
I would say not really.
Okay.
I think this is a big success getting it passed, but a lot of the real results and success that we're going to see isn't going to really be visible until a few years down the road, and it's always going to be kind of behind the scenes. One of the biggest things that you see is a lot of deferred interest. Certain things are misleading, but a lot of students don't end up paying until they're out of college, and then they realize that they're the victims of some of these predatory practices. So I think what you're going to see is after a few years, students won't be experiencing the same problems that other students did before them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this was a really short interview, but that's really all I have to ask. Do you have anything more you would like to add?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay.
And feel free to reach out too if there's any follow-up questions or anything.
Okay, perfect. Thank you